Right, we're going to make a little zipped bag. So prepare all your pieces, get them all cut out to start with, and you'll need 2 pieces of fusible fleece, two of the main fabric for the front and the back of the bag. I've chose this Moda floral. The 2 plain are for the lining. The little green pieces are for the loops for the end of the zips, and the pink is for the contrast on the front and the back of the bag. And then I've got 2 pieces of lace and a 14-inch zip. Right, let's go ahead and make a start. So take one of the sides of the main pieces, make sure it's faced up if you've got directional fabric. Take one of your trimmings and lay this on the top edge of your fabric, and then take one of your contrasting pieces and lay that on top. So it's right sides together, make a sandwich, make sure you stitch across the top catching all the 3 pieces together, and then we'll get the second side done exactly the same, right sides up, lay your trimming on the top edge, again making sure that your fabric is running the right way, and your contrast piece, and we'll go ahead and we'll sew both of these pieces. Okay, that's done. So I haven't got any excess of fabric to cut away, but if you have, chop it away now so there's no bulk. Just check your seams that everything's caught, everything's sewn, and then go ahead and finger press across on both pieces, and you're just going to top stitch across the pink, make it nice and flat and neat. So that's that done. It does make a difference when you sew that. You don't have to do it, but I like to do it. Right, so now we get the fusible fleece, and you can feel which side has got the glue on and which hasn't, so make sure you use the correct side. You can actually see it as well, little blobs of glue. So you put the glue side to the back of your fabric, and you press from the fabric side. So we're going to do both of these pieces. So that's all done, and if you want to personalize this, you know, put a name on it or quilt it or anything, do it now. I'm not going to bother for this demonstration. So now we're going to put the zip on. So get your zip, place it face down across the top of your fabric, one side. Centralize it a little bit. And then one of your lining pieces, place that on top. Again, you're making a sandwich. Make sure all 3 edges are right at the top. And you need to peg this, pin it, whatever, because it might move. But we have got a longer zip than necessary, so that if it does move, it's easy remedied. There'll be no need for a seam ripper. So make sure you've got plenty in. And we're just going to check it's all together and the zip is lying the right way. And then we're going to go ahead and stitch across there. So that's all done. No bulk. And that looks all okay, it's all stitched, no missing stitches, no holes. Now there's no book there. If there was, you'd have to cut it away now. So just press that down, finger press it down again. You can use your iron if you prefer, but it's just quicker and easier to do it this way. And then we're just going to go ahead and top stitch across the pink there. Right, that's one side of the bag complete. That was really quick. And now we'll put the other side on. So we take the fabric, right sides together, again go into the top of the zip, match it up so it's in line with the other side of the bag, and then we'll match up the lining as well, making sure it's at the top of the zip. And we're going to stitch across there. Right across. So we've done exactly the same both sides now, so that's two sides done. And as you can see, it has moved, but it doesn't matter because we've got this oversized zip, and I'm going to show you how to remedy it without a stitch ripper. So we're going to match up the patterned fabric and the pink together. It's more important to have everything matching so it's easy on your eye. So get everything together, and we're going to be stitching three sides of this main bag. We won't be doing that with the lining, but we'll do all three sides with the main bag. We don't need to leave any openings. So before you do any stitching or anything done around the bag, you need to open the zip halfway, otherwise you're not going to be able to get into the bag. So just slide it across about halfway, and like I say, match everything up. So there you go, I've stitched all the way around. You can see I've got a wider seam one side than the other. I'm just checking all the seams are caught, and I've got them before I go ahead and trim it all off. And I've got to open this bag now, turn it the right way around, and just check that I've matched up those side seams, because there'll be nothing worse. This is where I'll get the seam ripper out if it isn't matching. So just push it through, just check for any holes. Any weaknesses? Nothing. All feels all good to me. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Perfect match. And that side. That's what I'm looking for. So turn it back the wrong way round. And we'll trim all the way around there. Okay, that's all nicely trimmed. I've even cut off the corners. I like to cut these off. It's not necessary because we are losing those shortly, but it's better to not have the bulk when we're making the boxy corners, as you'll see in a minute. So now we'll do the same with the lining. So you just got to make sure that it's all matched and it's lying square. And the zip's open, and we're going to go down the sides, but we'll leave a gap either in the side or the bottom. I usually leave it big enough for my fist to go through. Okay, that's sorted. So I've done all that. I'm just going to go ahead now and chop these corners off, trim it. And I'm going to do these zip ends. So if you take the two green, well, the two pieces you've got, mine are green, and we've got two holes either side of the zip, one in the main bag, one in the lining, and that's where your loops are going to go into. So if you fold it in half lengthways, make a crease, and then fold both edges, raw edges, into that center crease line, just like a bias tape, and then fold over on itself, and do 1 or 2 rows of stitches, whatever you prefer. I'm doing 2. So I'll go ahead and do both of those now. Okay, so that's all stitched. I've cut off the corners and we're going to put the loops in. Actually, I'll do the corners first. So 1.5 inches from the base up, put a pen mark, and 1.5 inches from the base in to the centre of the base of the bag. Make another one. And those 2 ink marks you've got to try and match up. So just pinch the corners and you'll feel the seam when it's running on top of each other. And this is where you've cut the corners off and there's less bulk, so it's much better. So you can actually feel those seams running on top of each other, nice and square. And then we're going to go ahead and once we make sure that they are running on top of each other, and get a pin and just secure that, and then just mark it with a pen. And you can go across and use a ruler and draw a whole line if you want, but all 3 of the other corners have got to be done the same. So I'll go and do that first. That's all done. 1.5 inches, happy with that. And that's 1.5 inches. And I know they are because I've just measured them. So we'll go ahead and snip them corners off, being careful not to go through the threads, but as close as you can. And now we've got nice boxy corners. So I've done a running stitch across both ends of the zip. I've lopped that one off a little bit. And we're just going to cut that one off as well now. And we'll insert these loops now. So fold them in half, put the folded side into the bag, but make sure you go into the main bag and not the lining. And these are going to run across the zip flat, so laying flat against the zip, and just stick a peg on. And we're going to stitch up the sides as much as you can to the top of the zip, and again the same on the line side, and we're going across the zip as well. But just make sure you can get up as high as you can before you go across. And we'll do exactly the same the other side. Again, make sure you're going into the main bag and not the lining when you pop that in. Put a peg on, and we'll do the same. We'll stitch across and up as far as you can on both sides. So I've gone ahead and done that. I've checked all the seams, everything is perfect. I've just got to go and cut this off now. Cut away the bulk up to my sewing line. both sides. And then double check everything, and it's now time for the big reveal. This is the lovely bit, the bit I love. So pull it through. Just drag everything through. Tabs are fine. All the corners are fine. So it's important you put your hand in there now and push out. I prefer to use my fingers rather than tools. And just push everything out, that's it. Same with the lining. We've got to check everything now because we don't want to have to start undoing anything once that seam's done. So just push everything in, check it all, everything fits okay. Perfect. It's lovely shape, nice and boxy. You can fit your makeup in there, your pens, anything you like. So now our final stage is to seal that hole. So it's just a running stitch along there. You can do a slip stitch across with hand stitching, but mine will be on the machine. And if you've got your own labels, that's where you can put your label. So it's just a matter of making sure it's nice and flat and then sew it up. Push it all back. And job's done. Look at that. Anybody would be happy to receive that, wouldn't they? All done, and it's a job you can do. You could probably do a few of them in an hour.